This is Ralph Losey, the director and verifier of Echoes of AI, where the podcasters themselves are AI and they write the podcast, not me.
You know, it seems like everywhere you turn these days, it's just arguments. You know,
Yeah.
Everyone's at each other's throats politically. And honestly, I think we're all getting a little tired of it.
I think that's a fair assessment, yeah.
Like, can't we all just get along?
Right.
So I was really fascinated when I came across this article by Ralph Losey.
Okay.
And he's been working with AI, specifically ChatGPT and Google Gemini,
Wow.
to develop this 11-step plan for national unity.
Interesting.
And I thought, well, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, what's really cool about this is that Losey isn't just, passively analyzing what the AI is saying.
Right.
He's actually actively collaborating with these super intelligent AIs using techniques like adversarial debate,
Oh, wow.
where they're actually challenging each other and refining their arguments, and even theory of mind, where the AI is trying to understand different perspectives and motivations, like building empathy into the system.
That's amazing. And honestly, a lot of the stuff went so far over my head.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Like Losey said in the article, trying to keep up with these AIs, it's like playing checkers against a chess grandmaster.
Oh my gosh.
But, we're going to try our best to break it down for everybody.
Yeah.
So the basic gist is that they've come up with this really detailed 3-phase plan.
Okay.
And the first phase is laying the groundwork for unity.
Okay.
Then we move to collaborative action for polarization reduction. And finally, sustaining unity through systemic change.
So each step is its own little mini blueprint with specific action items and even ways to anticipate and overcome obstacles. It's really cool.
So for this deep dive, we're going to focus mostly on that first phase, laying the groundwork, because you can't build a skyscraper on shaky ground.
Exactly.
So just to give you a quick overview, phase 1 has 3 steps.
Okay.
Encourage local leadership and autonomy.
Okay.
Promote civic education. And shared American identity.
Got it.
And foster empathy through cross-group dialogue and perspective-taking.
Yeah, and I think we could all use a little more empathy these days, for sure.
Absolutely. So let's unpack step 1, encourage local leadership and autonomy.
Okay.
And the idea here is to give communities ownership over unity initiatives.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really insightful was how the AI is already thinking about potential skepticism.
Pushback.
Yeah, what if people are resistant to outside interference?
Yeah. Well, exactly. Nobody likes being told what to do.
Right.
So the AI suggests framing these initiatives as community-driven.
Okay.
Offering support and resources, but absolutely no mandates.
Got it.
It's about empowering communities to find their own solutions.
And making sure that everybody has a chance to participate. The AI really emphasizes prioritizing underserved areas.
Yeah.
With grants and funding, really trying to level the playing field.
Absolutely. And there's a great example of this that's already in action.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Losey mentions the Unity Funds the Community grants in Longmont, Colorado,
Okay.
which are specifically for projects that bring people together. And it's proof that this approach can work.
It's really inspiring to see that it's already happening in some places.
It is.
Imagine what a local Unity Fund could do in your own town, bringing neighbors together.
Right.
To address these issues that are affecting everybody.
It's really just about shifting that focus from division to collaboration.
Okay, so let's move on to step 2. Promote civic education and shared American identity.
All right.
And, when you hear civic education, you probably picture those dusty old textbooks from high school.
Oh, yeah.
But the AI is suggesting something much more engaging.
It's not about memorizing facts and figures.
Yeah.
It's about interactive programs and workshops that reflect the diverse perspectives that we have in our country, but also highlight those shared values.
Yeah.
They even mention educating for American democracy as a potential model, which is all about creating, informed and engaged citizens.
So the AI is really kind of anticipating pushback here because there are going to be concerns about bias in the material.
Oh, of course.
So the plan recommends having diverse reviewers from across the political spectrum.
Yeah, to make sure that the content is balanced and fair.
So it's not just presenting one side of the story.
Exactly.
And of course, to make sure that these resources are available to everybody, no matter their income or location. The AI suggests partnering with libraries and online platforms to offer them for free.
Yeah, make it a public good.
Make it a public good, exactly.
And they had this really cool idea for civic education fairs.
Oh, wow.
Think interactive booths, Discussions, debates.
Wow.
Who says learning about our democracy can't be fun?
All right, so moving on to step 3, foster empathy through cross-group dialogue and perspective taking.
Okay.
This one really spoke to me because, it's so easy to just judge and demonize people who disagree with us.
It is.
Well, what if we actually took the time to understand,
Where they're coming from. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so easy to get stuck in those echo chambers where we're only hearing voices that reinforce our own beliefs, but that doesn't get us anywhere.
No.
This is about seeking out those different perspectives
Right.
and engaging in constructive dialogue, even when it's uncomfortable.
And I love how the AI isn't just throwing out, abstract ideas here.
Yeah,
They actually point to some real-world examples,
exactly.
like Braver Angels, for instance.
Yes.
Where people from opposing political sides come together to find common ground.
It's amazing how powerful just talking to each other can be.
But of course, the AI also acknowledges that there are some real challenges.
Of course.
People might be afraid of having these hostile arguments,
Right.
or the conversations might not be truly diverse.
Yeah.
So to address those concerns, the plan suggests starting with, safe, low-stakes topics
Okay.
to kind of build trust.
Build up to it.
Yeah, and then actively recruiting participants from different backgrounds.
Absolutely. It's about creating a space where everyone feels heard and respected.
And they propose creating a community conversation kit.
I love that idea.
Yeah, like a resource that any community can use to start these types of dialogues.
It's about making empathy building accessible.
Exactly. So just taking a step back, it seems like phase 1 is really all about creating those right conditions for unity.
It is.
Empowering communities, reminding ourselves of our shared values, and understanding each other.
And building that solid foundation.
Building that foundation, exactly.
Before we even start talking about those bigger systemic changes.
Yeah, and even Losey, who's a brilliant legal mind,
Yeah.
he was blown away by the complexity and the foresight of the AI.
Yeah. It's like they're thinking 10 steps ahead,
Yeah.
anticipating challenges that we haven't even considered.
It's humbling, isn't it?
It is.
Like these AIs are pushing us to think differently about all this,
Yeah.
to approach these problems with fresh perspectives. And honestly, maybe we need that
Maybe we do.
to finally bridge these divides, you know?
Well, this is just the first phase.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to unpack here. So stay with us. In the next part of this deep dive, we'll be exploring phase 2 collaborative action, where things get really interesting.
That's right. We're going to be looking at how we can use media technology and community collaboration to actually reduce polarization.
It's going to be good.
You won't want to miss it.
Yeah.
All right, so we laid all that groundwork with phase 1
Yeah.
and empathy, like local power shared values, that kind of stuff.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. But now, how do we actually start dismantling this polarization monster?
Great.
And that's where phase 2 comes in, collaborative action for polarization reduction.
Exactly. This is where we get into the nuts and bolts of how we change the systems and the structures that are actually feeding the divide.
Okay.
And honestly, some of the AI's ideas here are pretty brilliant,
Yeah.
but a little intimidating.
Yeah, I was reading through this and I was like, can we really do this?
Right.
Can we actually rewire our media and our tech and our whole way of interacting with each other?
Well, let's take a look. Step 4, promoting media literacy and creating trusted information ecosystems.
Okay.
That goes right to the heart of the problem, misinformation.
Yeah, it really feels like we're just drowning in a sea
Yeah.
of, clickbait and spin and just straight up falsehoods.
Yeah.
How do we even begin to rebuild trust in information?
Well, the AI's approach is actually pretty practical.
Okay.
It's about equipping people with the tools to critically evaluate what they're seeing and reading.
Okay.
Think media literacy workshops in schools,
Oh.
libraries, online resources.
So it's like turning everyone into a savvy
Thank you.
information detective.
Exactly.
I like it.
So instead of just, passively consuming whatever pops up on our screens,
All right.
we become more discerning,
Yeah.
questioning sources, checking facts,
Yeah.
considering different perspectives.
And the AI, they're smart. They anticipated some pushback here.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are going to be suspicious of anything that sounds like controlling information. So the plan really emphasizes that media literacy is a neutral skill
Right.
that benefits everyone.
Regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum.
Exactly. It's not about telling people what to think,
Oh.
but giving them the tools to think for themselves.
Exactly.
Kind of like give a man a fish he eats for a day. Teach a man to spot misinformation, he can navigate the internet for a lifetime.
There you go.
Okay, maybe not as sketchy, but you get the idea.
But it's about empowerment, not indoctrination.
Right.
And to make sure that everybody has access to these skills,
Yeah.
the AI suggests, leveraging digital platforms and mobile outreach,
Okay.
particularly in those rural and underserved communities where access might be limited.
Okay, so let's move on to step 5, promoting ethical technology use and respectful online engagement.
Okay.
Because let's face it, social media is practically designed to outrage us.
Oh, yeah.
Can we actually change that?
Well, the AI is not shying away from the challenge.
Okay.
They actually propose working directly with tech companies
yeah.
to redesign those addictive algorithms
Right, yeah.
that keep feeding us that divisive content.
Yeah.
Pushing for transparency in content moderation.
Okay.
Basically trying to shift the incentives away from outrage and towards civil discourse.
Now, I got to admit, I'm a little skeptical here.
Yeah.
I mean, these companies are driven by profit,
Right.
and outrage equals clicks.
Yeah.
Is ethical tech even profitable?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the AI makes a pretty good case that ethical tech reforms can actually improve user experience
Okay.
and build trust,
Okay.
which in the long run is good for business.
All right, I'm willing to hear them out.
Okay.
But what about concerns about censorship?
Sure.
I mean, nobody wants to feel like their voice is being silenced.
Well, that's why the plan stresses the importance of transparency and accountability and
Yeah.
content moderation.
Okay.
And no more like shadowy algorithms or secret blacklists.
Right.
Everything's out in the open,
Yeah.
subject to public scrutiny. It's about creating a system that's fair and equitable,
Right.
where diverse voices can be heard
Yeah.
without resorting to hate speech or misinformation.
So how do they actually propose making all this happen?
Well, they suggest creating like a civility certification program
Yeah.
for tech platforms.
Like a seal approval.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
For those that meet certain ethical standards,
Okay.
they also recommend, funding research into the impact of these algorithm changes
Yeah.
and launching public awareness campaigns about respectful online interaction.
So it's like a multi-pronged approach,
It is.
changing the technology itself, educating users, and promoting a culture of civility online.
Yeah,
It sounds ambitious,
it does.
but I'm starting to feel a little bit of hope.
Me too.
Hmm.
So step 6, incentivizing community collaboration on shared issues.
Okay.
This takes us back to that local level,
Okay.
but with a focus on action.
All right, so we got people talking to each other,
Yeah.
understanding each other better. But how do we actually get them to work together?
Well, the AI's insight here is to focus on those nonpartisan projects
Okay.
that address the challenges that we all face.
Right.
Think like infrastructure improvements,
Okay.
public health initiatives,
Yeah.
environmental sustainability.
Things that affect everybody?
Exactly. Things that affect everyone regardless of their political views.
Because when you're like literally working side by side with somebody
Yeah.
to clean up a park or to rebuild after a disaster,
Right.
those political differences tend to fade away.
Exactly. And to encourage that collaboration even further,
Okay.
the plan proposes offering like financial rewards and public recognition
Oh, I love that.
for successful projects.
Yeah, a little positive reinforcement.
That is
a long way.
a gold star.
But what about, the risk that these projects get bogged down in these political battles?
Well, the AI addresses that by emphasizing the importance of choosing truly nonpartisan issues
Okay.
and creating very clear guidelines and oversight mechanisms to keep everything fair and impartial.
Okay.
And if people are still hesitant,
Yeah.
offer seed grants and public awards
Okay.
to kind of boost motivation and recognize those who are taking the leap.
Okay. On to step 7. Creating platforms for bipartisan citizen engagement.
Okay, this one's interesting.
This sounds really intriguing. What are we talking about here?
This step is about building those spaces,
Okay.
both virtual and physical, where people can come together,
Yeah.
regardless of their political beliefs,
Right.
and collaborate on those shared challenges.
So think like town hall meetings 2.0.
Exactly.
Online forums, maybe even those cool interactive platforms.
Yes.
Where people can propose solutions and vote on ideas.
Absolutely. And they propose using technology
Yeah.
to facilitate those discussions and even help generate solutions.
It's really harnessing the power of technology.
It is.
For good.
Good, yeah.
Imagine a world where citizens are actually engaged in shaping their communities,
It would be amazing.
working together to solve problems.
Yeah.
Instead of just, yelling at each other on social media.
Right.
I love the vision.
Yeah.
But how do we get people to actually show up and participate?
Well, they suggest partnering with those trusted community leaders
Okay.
and influencers to promote these platforms
Okay.
and to avoid those like unproductive debates that can derail any good faith effort.
Right.
They recommend using trained facilitators and even AI tools
Oh, wow.
to moderate the discussions and keep things focused on constructive dialogue.
So it's kind of a combination of like good old-fashioned community organizing
Yes.
and cutting-edge technology.
The best of both worlds.
I like it.
And they even suggest specific action items like launching a bipartisan citizen voices platform for online collaboration,
Okay.
hosting those regional and national citizen summits, and even providing small grants for citizen-proposed initiatives.
So it's not just about talking. It's about giving people the power to do something.
Exactly.
To make a difference.
That sense of agency, that feeling that you're a part of something bigger than yourself, can be a powerful antidote to that cynicism and division.
I'm feeling energized.
I know, me too.
Like this phase 2, it's all about action and innovation and empowering people
It is.
to create positive change.
It's like taking all that hope and goodwill that we cultivated in phase 1.
Right.
And turning it into something real, something tangible.
Exactly. And this is just the second phase.
We're not done yet.
There's more.
We still have phase 3,
Okay.
where we delve into those systemic changes. Electoral integrity, political reforms, addressing those socioeconomic disparities that can create a more just and equitable society.
Okay. Now I'm really curious to see what they have in store for us next.
Stay tuned.
How do we actually create that lasting change at the systemic level?
It's going to be good.
Stay tuned, folks, because things are about to get really interesting. All right. So we've talked about creating the right conditions for unity.
Yes.
Empowering local communities. Promoting ethical technology use.
It's all connected.
Now it's time for the final phase of this 11-step plan, sustaining unity through systemic change.
Okay.
And this is where I start to feel a little overwhelmed. You know, that we're talking about those really deep-rooted systemic issues that contribute to polarization.
Right. The big stuff.
Yeah, these are like the big, hairy problems that have been around forever, you know?
Yeah, but the AI actually gives us like a roadmap for tackling them head on.
Okay.
It's not going to be easy, but the potential rewards are huge.
Okay, so where do we even begin?
Well, step 8 goes right to the heart of it.
Okay.
Building trust in electoral integrity.
Okay.
And the AI recognizes that if we can't even agree on the basic fairness of our elections, then unity is almost impossible.
It's true. When people feel like the system is rigged against them, they lose faith in the whole process.
They do.
And that just breeds, you know, cynicism and resentment and ultimately division.
It does. So the AI proposes a bunch of reforms to ensure that everyone feels confident that their vote counts, that the process is free from, you know, manipulation or fraud.
So we're talking about things like transparent vote audits, improved election technology, easier, more accessible voting systems.
Exactly. Now, I can already hear people on both sides,
oh, yeah,
you know, getting ready to argue about this.
Of course.
But the plan really emphasizes the importance of bipartisan oversight every step of the way.
Yeah.
It's not about one side winning over the other. It's about working together to create a system that we can all trust.
Right. A system that accurately reflects the will of the people.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's be realistic. You know, upgrading voting systems, implementing new security measures. All this sounds expensive.
Yeah.
Complicated.
It's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
But the AI suggests, you know, partnering with tech companies, civic organizations to make it happen.
To find those cost-effective solutions.
Right. And to make sure that the technology serves everybody.
All voters.
Yeah. And the plan also includes voter education campaigns to combat misinformation about the process.
So it's really about making sure that everybody understands how the system works.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got technological upgrades, increased transparency, and public education.
Seems like a good plan.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to step 9.
Okay.
Supporting bipartisan political reforms.
All right, so now we're getting into like the structure of our political system.
This is the big stuff.
Yeah, the stuff that really incentivizes gridlock and polarization.
Exactly. We're talking about gerrymandering.
Yeah.
The influence of money in politics.
Oh, yeah.
Campaign finance reform.
These are like the big issues that nobody seems to be able to agree on.
Right. These have been debated forever with very little progress.
Right. So is the AI suggesting anything new here?
Well, they propose exploring things like ranked choice voting and independent redistricting commissions.
Okay, so both of those are really about creating a more level playing field
Exactly.
and encouraging candidates to appeal to a broader range of voters.
Yeah, not just their base.
Right, so it's about incentivizing coalition building and finding common ground
Exactly.
rather than just demonizing the other side.
Right. But let's be real.
Yeah.
People in power don't usually give up control that easily.
No, they don't. So how do we actually overcome that resistance to change?
Well, the AI suggests framing these reforms as improvements to our democracy,
Okay.
not partisan maneuvers.
Right.
It's not about giving one side an advantage over the other.
Right. It's about creating a system that better reflects the will of the people.
Exactly. And to address those public concerns and misunderstandings,
Yeah.
the plan emphasizes clear, accessible communication,
Okay.
the benefits of these reforms.
So it's about appealing to those shared values.
Yes.
Of fairness and democratic representation.
Exactly.
Okay. Step 10, addressing socioeconomic disparities.
Big one.
This feels especially relevant today, with the growing gap between the rich and the poor.
It is economic inequality, lack of opportunity.
Yeah,
These are breeding grounds for resentment and anger and division.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do we address that?
Well, the AI proposes tackling these issues head on
Okay.
through targeted initiatives focused on things like job creation,
Okay.
affordable health care,
Uh-huh.
equitable access to education.
So we're talking about things like investing in infrastructure,
Yeah.
expanding job training programs,
Uh-huh.
maybe even exploring ideas like a universal basic income.
Potentially, the plan doesn't prescribe specific policies,
Okay.
but it emphasizes the importance of tailoring solutions to each community.
Right, because different communities have different needs.
Exactly. It's about empowering local leaders and organizations
Okay.
to address the specific challenges that they face.
And focusing on those universal goals that transcend those partisan divides.
Exactly.
Creating jobs, providing affordable health care,
Yeah.
making sure everyone has a chance to succeed.
Yeah. Opportunity for everyone.
Opportunity for everyone.
It's about creating a system where everyone feels like they have a stake in the game,
Yes.
that they have something to gain.
Right, and that success isn't limited to just a select few.
Exactly.
Okay, and finally we come to step 11, embedding empathy and perspective-taking into institutions.
This one brings us full circle back to those core values of understanding and connection.
Right, from phase 1.
Exactly.
It feels like this is the culmination of the whole plan.
It is.
Like weaving empathy into the very fabric of our society.
Because lasting change requires more than just policy tweaks or structural reforms.
It's about a fundamental shift in how we relate to each other.
It's a cultural shift.
Yeah, but how do we actually embed empathy into our institutions?
Well, the plan suggests introducing specific programs
Okay.
in schools, workplaces, public services that encourage empathy and collaboration.
So things like conflict resolution training,
Yeah.
diversity and inclusion workshops, maybe even using storytelling and role-playing.
Right, to help people understand different perspectives.
So it's like taking those empathy-building exercises from phase 1
yes,
and scaling them up.
to a societal level.
It's a pretty powerful idea,
It is.
but I can already hear people saying this is all just touchy-feely nonsense.
Oh, of course.
How do we overcome that perception?
Well, the AI suggests framing these programs as essential life skills.
Okay.
Things that enhance communication,
Okay.
collaboration,
Yeah.
decision-making.
Because ultimately, who wouldn't benefit from being able to understand and work with people who are different from them?
Exactly.
So it's really about highlighting the practical benefits.
Yes, not just the emotional ones.
Okay, well, we've covered all 11 steps
You made it.
of this AI's plan for national unity.
Wow.
It's been quite a journey, and honestly, I'm feeling a lot of things right now.
Yeah.
Hope, inspiration, but also a little bit of, just, apprehension.
Yeah.
Such a massive undertaking.
Okay. It is a huge undertaking. Yeah.
But it's also really exciting.
It is exciting.
Because this plan tackles the issue of polarization from all these different angles.
It does.
From the individual level to the societal level.
Yeah.
From the technological to the political.
It's really a holistic approach.
It is. It recognizes the complexity of the problem.
And it gives me hope.
Yeah.
Hope that we can actually overcome these divisions.
Right.
That we can create a more united, just, and equitable society.
That's what it's all about.
So where do we go from here?
Well, I encourage you to check out Ralph Losey's articles.
Yes.
Dive into this 11-step plan.
Yeah.
You might find a specific initiative that resonates with you.
Yeah.
A cause that you're passionate about.
Right.
Or even just a new way of thinking about how to approach those difficult conversations.
Yeah.
Even
Wow.
small actions can make a difference.
They really can. And this is just the beginning of the conversation.
Right. We got to keep talking.
We got to keep talking.
Keep listening.
Keep listening.
And keep working together to bridge those divides. The future really depends on it.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
We hope it's giving you some food for thought.
Yeah.
And maybe even a little spark of inspiration.
Absolute.
Until next time, stay curious and stay engaged.
And we'll see you on the next deep dive.